Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It is Wednesday, June 10th. I'm Tori in studio with Erica, and Brandon joins us from home. Let's get started. What was that, Brandon? Are you okay?
Was there some traffic? Brandon?
Whoa, no, there's dogs outside. You can hear that?
Yes.
Man, women hear everything, huh?
Yeah, you best believe we do. Absolutely.
It was like an instant.
Who that? Was that a purse closing? How do we know that? Wait, I think that was a toilet flush.
Was that a door closing? Who was that? All right, we're getting into some stories here. I want to get your take on this. The reality show Vanderpump Rules is cleaning house. 4 cast members, Brett Caprioni, Kristen Doty, Max Boyens, and Stassi Schroeder, were all fired over racially insensitive comments and tweets. Stassi and Kristen have been under fire after it came to light that the two have reported a former coworker, Faith Stowers, for a crime she had nothing to do with. Stassi recently posted an apology on Instagram, saying she was filled with remorse and regret for the hurt she had caused. Kristen posted a similar apology, saying that her actions were not, quote, racially driven, but she is now aware of how her privilege blinded her from the reality of law enforcement's treatment of the black community. Meantime, Brett, whose mother is half black, was fired over using the N-word in tweets. He told Us Weekly that he accepts the network's decision to let him go and that he is committed to working with his community to repair the damage that he has caused. So these are like the stars of Vanderpump Rules. Erica, what do you think about this cleaning house?
I remember we had this conversation not that long ago about a woman losing her job for calling the police on a black man. And this is exactly what this is. And I said the organization and company that she worked for had no choice but to let her go. The same thing for Bravo. They had no choice but to let them go, because just a couple weeks ago, when everybody was joining in and chiming in saying Black Lives Matter and all these companies were posting that they stand with their black employees, Bravo did the same. And some of their employees actually challenged to see when action was going to be taking place. Because if you're going to talk it, you're going to have to walk it. And so when you have examples of very systemic racism, especially when there's very little to no representation, there has to be ways that companies make amends for this and make sure that it's going correctly from this point forward.
You better check your boardrooms. How diverse are they before you hold up a Black Lives Matter on Instagram? Brandon, what's your take on this?
Well, I love what Erica said about how some employees from Bravo called them out and challenged them, because I just think there's a reason behind that, in the sense of this woman probably came to someone and told them how she was being treated. Now, this is just my opinion, but she was probably telling someone, and no one did anything. So now that we have the George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement, now that this systemic racism is right here in front of our faces, it challenged Bravo's hand, and I'm glad they did something. Now to Brett, who is half black, half white. No, you don't need to get involved with your community, bro. You need to get in touch with yourself, because that N-word that you use, just because you're half and half and you think you may align more with your white side than your black side, you're still an N-word to a lot of people out there. Always remember that. So do work in your community, but do work to self too, because that's self-hate, bro.
Wow, interesting take on that. I want to get, I have a little tweet I wanted to show you guys that just made me giggle today, if we can put it up. And this says, if you're racist and you're fired, it's your fault. If you're racist and you're fired, it's your fault. If you're racist and you're vocal, expect some blowback from the locals. If you're racist and you're fired, it's your fault. Thank you. So I just thought we could put that there. Yeah. Oprah, moving on, held a virtual town. Sorry, that's how it is. It's your fault. Oprah held a virtual town hall to discuss issues ranging from police brutality in the wake of George Floyd's death to systemic racism in America. Let's take a look.
I don't recall a moment quite like this one, because we find our nation on a precipice, a true tipping point, I believe. And just like all of you, for the past few weeks, I've been talking and Zooming with friends, and the same question keeps popping up over and over. Is this the moment that will finally change our country, where people recognize systemic racism for the problem and the evil that it is?
The town hall titled "Where Do We Go From Here" included guests like actor David Oyelowo. He said he found it so hard to explain George Floyd's death to his son.
I went to speak to my son and I didn't have the words because George Floyd wasn't resisting arrest. So it's not like saying to my son, put your hands on the dash, don't be confrontational. Those conversations are already emasculating to basically say, forget about justice in an interaction with the police. Yes. Come home alive.
That's so interesting. Trevor Noah said something the other day, like the social contract is broken when the police arrive and kill you because they haven't signed up for that contract, so it's null and void. Brandon, what did you take? Do you think of Oprah creating this dialogue? You think it's a good thing? What do you think about it?
I think it's a great thing, Tori, because we all have our platforms to use in this fight. And I've, like what she had mentioned, like she's had Zoom calls and she's talked to people, and people want to know what's next, because in this fight's gonna go on forever. And there's a lot of people who want to use their platforms or want to get involved in different ways than not only just protesting, not only just taking down Confederate statues, but we're talking about taking down a system where there's a deep-rooted inequality in. So we want to know, like, what more can we do? How can we keep this momentum going, not just for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but forever?
Erica, we saw Emily Ratajkowski with a sign that I can't stop forgetting about. She says, dismantle power structures of oppression. Do you think this is the moment where we're actually going to take action?
I'll tell you, hearing Oprah asking that question that I've been asking myself definitely gives me some form of relief. Yeah. Because I think that when we're having these conversations, it's like, you know, I signed up to be on a TV show and be a host. When we started the show, we were dancing like all over the studio, and you know, it was a very light thing. And now it's more about like responsibility. It's about what's happening in the world. And I think that we put a lot of undue stress on ourselves thinking that we should have all the answers. We're human like everyone else. So when Oprah says, is this the moment? And she's asking questions, I've been reaching out to mentors who I've looked up to most of my professional life, and they are having conversations with me because we're all trying to process this together. So is this the moment? I know that the curtain has certainly been pulled back, and we've all seen The Wizard. So at this point, if you have seen it and you've also declared that you're an ally in the cause, then to do anything other than to be a catalyst for change is willful and determined ignorance to the issue.
Compliance, completely agree with you. And what you're saying is so important too, because when you talk to your friends about things, it's okay to not know. It's okay to not know right now because things are changing. And when Oprah says she doesn't know, that makes me feel a little bit better too. So I appreciate you being honest about that. Switching gears here, Anderson Cooper is opening up about why he chose to have his son Wyatt through a surrogate. The CNN anchor spoke to People magazine about the decision, saying he had considered international adoption at one point, but said he wanted a child who reflected his family's legacy. Since his mother, father, and brother are all gone, Anderson also called surrogacy a very expensive and time-consuming process, but said he's not ruling out having more kids in the future. If you don't really understand the legacy that he's referring to, he is from the Vanderbilt family. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing in this country, they are a very Americana, iconic, legendary family, and I think that's the legacy in which he is referring to. What do you think about, I thought about adoption, I'll be super honest. What do you think about adoption with versus surrogacy? Is there a hierarchy?
There are, you know, I work with an organization called CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates. There are so many children who need a loving home. Right. There's so many children who need support. So I think that a lot of people find themselves in situations where, you know, I'm ready to go forward with adoption, and then they get pregnant, and then they have a bio kid and an adopted child, but it doesn't change the dynamics of the family. Like, I have 4 or 3 bio siblings, but there have been 6 to 8 children in the home because my parents have taken guardianship of that amount of children.
Wow.
So I think that you can create family however you see fit.
I agree. Brandon, what do you think about it? You think you can create family? Is there a hierarchy for you, one over the other? Do you need to pass on the London line?
No, obviously I would love to pass on the London line. You know, I want to get married. I want to have children. I want to have a big family. But at the same time, I'm not the one carrying the baby. You know, so if my wife, I would love 5 children. I don't think there's, you know, if there's a woman out there who that married, she doesn't want 5 kids. Let's say she just wants 2 or 3. Then I am willing to adopt. I hope that I have the means and I have the structure financially to be able to adopt and to be able to take care of a kid. Like, I would love to do that one day, you know?
That's a great thing. Well, let us know what you think. Facebook, YouTube. Is there a hierarchy? What are you choosing? What option? And again, as Erica said, family is what you make of it. Brandon, stick around. Coming up on DBL, what do Cops and Gone with the Wind have in common? Well, they're canceled in the wake of the protests. But is this going too far? We're going to share your DBL take. Plus, Lizzo shares her workout routine and a message for the haters. And we're here for it. And halfway through another week, we just could not have done it without our staff working hard at home because of the pandemic. We appreciate you all. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning.
Welcome back to DBL. Lizzo recently, okay, I was trying to be cool and I wasn't. Recently put all her body shamers and haters on blast in a workout video posted on TikTok. It's my favorite. Take a look.
Hey, so I've been working out consistently for the last 5 years, and it may come as a surprise to some of y'all that I'm not working out to have your ideal body type. I'm working out to have my ideal body type.
What do you think of that message, Brandon? You are an ex-NFL player. Did you work out for the team or for yourself?
you work out for yourself, you know. I hate working out, Tori. I say it all the time. Because as an athlete, I was working out to be a better athlete, to be a better gladiator. Now I don't want to do HIIT stuff, and I don't want to run around a park for 2 hours. That's boring to me because I'm not becoming a better athlete. But at the same time, I understand that you have to maintain a level of health. You have to maintain a level of fitness. So there's a saying out there that healthy is the new sexy. So I agree with Lizzo, where she's not working out for other people's body type, but for her body type.
Well, Erica's doing different, like Kundalini yoga, right? Like there's Brandon, there's different things you could try, like Pilates or yoga that isn't so intense that might be better. Tell us about your experience.
Well, so I did fitness competitions for years, so I was working out with the objective of being stage ready so that I could compete. And what that did was it gave me body dysmorphia issues that I had never ever grown up with. So that was like early in my 30s. So when I decided that I was going to just become healthy, then I wanted to do things that made sense for me. So when I moved to Sacramento, I used to go to the gym and they had a cardio theater. So I would watch a movie in a room and just be like walking and running on a treadmill.
I would do that every day.
And, I mean, things like that. So then when I realized like, oh, certain things that are just normal where I'm not like putting a lot of impact on my body, I started doing Pilates. I started doing Kundalini yoga because it incorporates, you know, mind, body, and spirit. So it was a part of meditation. And honestly, when I started doing things like that, that's when I was able to really manage my weight in my body. Although I do not weigh myself. I haven't weighed myself in years.
The scale is in the trash, okay? Scale is in the trash. Don't buy it. Just believe in the genes and how you feel. Brandon, we've got a hot button topic coming up. I sound real hip. Cops and Gone with the Wind are literally gone with the wind. Get it? As protests sweep the nation. But does this go too far? We're sharing your comments next, DBL, so stick around. Welcome back to DBL. As the Black Lives Matter movement continues to be televised, shows that feature real-life cops and classic films like Gone with the Wind are now facing cancel culture. So last week, Cops was canceled amid a protest against police brutality, and now HBO has pulled the film Gone with the Wind in response to the Black Lives Matter movement. But the Oscar-winning film will eventually return with an education discussion that HBO says will feature it more responsibly. So DBL Nation, will policing TV programming really make a difference? We go to you guys. I'm going to read the comments and get your take. Brandon, you're up first. Scott from Facebook says, I always hated the way cops exploited people, especially those struggling with addictions, poverty, and mental illness. Those bad boys. That's a good point. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with this, Tori. It should be pulled because what we see on TV, or what a lot of people see on TV, is what shapes their norm in a way. So when you think about and you're watching a show like Cops and you're seeing this, and now this police brutality thing is put right here in the forefront. You have to pull that show like that. There's a reason why Nat Geo had to apologize a couple years ago to Aborigines and people of native lands because they deemed them to be savages. They were labeled as savages, and that's how people viewed them from Western civilization.
I mean, I totally agree with you. Even the bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Yeah. There's no sense of, like, somebody could be innocent before you're proven guilty here, right? Erica, here's the next comment. Marva from Facebook says, I'm glad HBO wasn't quick to completely cancel Gone with the Wind. It features the first Black Oscar winner, Hattie McDaniel.
Yeah, Hattie McDaniel is such a interesting, that's a very interesting point because there's a lot of complexity in the role of Hattie McDaniel. For those of you who don't know, she was an African-American actress who won for playing the part of servant. And people have very mixed emotions about that because they feel like that was the representation for African-Americans. But there was also a story behind how she was paying tribute to those who came before her. So there's a lot of complexities in history, and I'm glad that we're at least having the conversation.
I agree. She was also sort of like stereotypically depicted, but then there were some scenes where you saw her like subtext. It was like a very interesting role for Hattie McDaniel to see, and I thought for the first African American to win Academy Award, it's good that it's back, but I think we need to have more discussion about it.
It's important that people understand what it takes sometimes to pave the way.
Yeah,
like the burden that the first actually has to bear.
Yeah, that's such a good call. Lisa from YouTube says, I'm sure most of the people arrested on Cops fit the description of George Floyd. I don't know what she's saying there. Brandon, you want to take that one? Is that for Brandon?
Come on, you gonna give me this one? I don't know how to handle that comment. I don't know how to handle that comment.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
It goes back to what I said about how people view people just off of what they see on TV. So there has to be proper depiction of people and their cultures on television. I'll take the PC road on that one.
I really appreciate that. And remember, we were all human beings. I appreciate that diplomatic take on that. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration.
Welcome back. Getting rid of pesky weeds can be a hassle in the garden. Whether or not you have a green thumb, I don't. Jeff discovered a safe solution in today's DBL home hack presented by American Home Shield.
What's up, guys? So welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you an easy DIY project you could do with just some ingredients from your house to help get rid of those pesky weeds outside. I'm going to give you the recipe or the ingredients I found online, which is 1 gallon white vinegar right here, 1 teaspoon regular dish soap, and 1 cup of salt. So you all know how to get weeds out with this, or maybe you don't, but it's a pain and it takes forever. And some of these weeds are really spiky. So hopefully this solution that we made inside does the trick. I'm gonna spray these. And it's not very sunny out right now, but you want to do this at the sunniest part of the day. In a couple of hours, you'll see that this solution will kill these weeds. And as you can see, it's safe for the kids, so it's not going to hurt them. So that's my DIY project, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a greener lawn from it. When it comes to your home, American Home Shield warranty helps cover many things homeowners insurance leaves out. Call American Home Shield at 1-800-919-3629 to get a free quote today.
We were just, let's be honest, Brandon, Rob, our Steadicam guy and friend, and Erica and I were just saying it's so nice to see Jeff have a backyard. He used to have like a post-it note in the bathroom being like house with a backyard, house with a backyard. He manifested it.
Yes. We all celebrated, although we were in quarantine when Jeff got his house, because he's been talking about this for 3 seasons now.
He won't shut up about it. He's super honest. We're very happy, right, Brandon?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, good. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. We're new every day. See you soon.